and girls, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you Mr. Hassan Shamsuddeen, if I pronounce it correctly. He is
Yeah, that's correct.
a very promising young man. We talked the last day a lot about his background, and I found it so impressive what he is doing that I want to share. I want him to share his story with all the children of the world, especially the children of Africa, especially the children of Ghana. So the presentation is about 20 minutes, and there will be a lot of time because I know you will have a lot of questions. There will be a lot of time to ask your questions. So, Hassan, welcome here. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Hans. I'm so excited to be here, and I look forward to very exciting moments with you all, especially for our younger ones. Thank you.
Oh, okay, the first question, of course, we have for you is who are you? And what is your presentation about? And why should the children listen to you?
Okay. So, can I have the slides, the first one, so I can go ahead and start? Is it ready?
Yep, it's
Okay.
ready. Give me 1 second here.
Okay, all right. So, my name is Shamsuddin Hassan, like Mr. Hans rightly mentioned, and I am a graduate of civil engineering from the University of Shenyang Zhenjiu University, China, and also a graduate of Masters in Project Management from University of IICSE, Delaware, USA, America. So I am so excited to be here to share my story and also talk about the title, Your Voice, Your Future, from Africa to the World. Dream Beyond Borders, my journey from Kaduna to China. So I'm here to show a little bit of my story, how I managed to take a flight, that is to travel from Kaduna, which is a place in northern Nigeria, to faraway China, somewhere in Asia. So I'm here to tell all my viewers, especially the younger ones, my little brothers and sisters, that if I can do it, they too can also do it. It's possible. So your dreams can be achieved when you put on the right hard work and the right determination, just like I did. So this is essentially what I want to discuss today.
Okay, very, very good. And Hassan, you have traveled the world, and what is so promising? And then hopefully you will start your presentation. What is so promising for the children that are presently listening? What is so promising about your presentation?
Okay, so I would love the students to pay attention to this because it's going to make them think at the end of the presentation.
Oh.
They will start seeing the world in a different way. It will give them a perspective, how they'll be able to view the world in a way that will allow them to do what is possible to have a promising future and also contribute to the development of the world entirely. So it will no longer be the same. Probably they'll be thinking about, okay, Africa, they'll think about Ghana, okay, how can I improve the life of the people around me? How can I really put on a future that I'll be proud of, my parents will be proud of, and also improve the life of the people in my community or in the immediate environment around me. So now I would like to take your thoughts a little bit higher than that, to see the world as a global village where you can come in, join, and give your own contribution in a way that you can impact a lot more people than the people in your local community. And I have a first-hand experience by traveling to China. I saw how a lot of things have worked, which if I hadn't traveled, I would not have known. If I stay in Nigeria, if I stay in Kaduna State, Nigeria, all those things will not have been visible to me. I wouldn't have an idea about how they work. So many interesting things I've seen there. And that's even made me to come back to Nigeria and started something to improve the life of the people around me. So this is basically the thing I would like to bring to your attention, the younger ones, to see that, yes, there is a whole lot of work ahead of you, and your contribution is needed. You can do much more than you thought you could. And when you have the right opportunity, you can impact a lot of lives around you and even beyond you.
Okay, very good. The children in Ghana, are you ready? If you're ready, then raise your hand. Okay, Hassan, you have the stage. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so the title of my presentation is, as like I made mention earlier, Your Voice, Your Future, from Africa to the World. So when we talk about your voice, do you understand what the meaning of your voice, the word voice? I know you do. So voice simply means when you speak, what people hear when you speak is your voice, right? But this can also mean what your idea is all about, the idea that you hold within yourself, okay? So how can you express it in such a way that the world will listen to whatever the idea is all about? So this is also what we mean by your voice. Then your future. Do you have an idea about your future? Okay, I believe you do, right? So now here, this is the present. We are in the present now. This presentation is happening in the present because it is live, right? So yesterday is the past and tomorrow is part of the future, okay? So what will happen after now is what we call the future, right? So tomorrow and any other day after tomorrow is what we refer to as the future. So the future here means any other day that will come that will allow you to grow, to advance to your full potential is what we call the future. Okay, so this future can be a very promising one, a future that can be very exciting, that will be filled with happiness and love and, you know, all excitement. And it can also be the opposite. Maybe something that is not so exciting, something that is sad, something that is far away from happiness, something that you don't like. This can also be a future, right? So our concentration today here is the future that is positive, the future that is bright, the future that will come with a lot of happiness, right? So this is our concentration for today, okay? Then the next word that I would like to describe is Africa to the world. Africa to the world. So this phrase, what do you understand by this phrase, Africa to the world? So right now we're in Africa, right? Ghana, Nigeria, Djibouti, Congo. These are all countries in Africa, right? Okay, so we are in Africa here. And how about the world? So when I mention the world here, I mean somewhere beyond this immediate environment, somewhere beyond these countries that I mentioned in Africa, right? So when you put all of this in perspective, you find out, okay, now you're talking about your voice, right? You're talking about your future. You're talking about Africa, then to the world. Okay, so now how can you make your ideas be visible to the world in order to have a brighter or a more happier future? This is what this presentation is all about. And I'm here to tell you that it is very possible because I have an experience doing that. I'm still on my way trying to, you know, have even more advanced perspective about the world and give even higher contribution. But at least I have stepped upon, you know, a little bit more higher stage than you are. So I've seen so many other things that you may not have seen. So I'm here to tell you that it is possible for you to also climb on that stage and offer your contribution for a brighter, more promising future for the world. Okay, so when you look at below the title, there is subtitle there, which reads Dream Beyond Borders, My Journey from Kaduna to China. So if you are dreaming about just trying to change Ghana, so now it is time for you to also include the larger world in that dream, because it is possible, right? So from Kaduna to China, this is exactly what happened to me. I was once just like you know, just a little student trying to just go to school on time, come back on time, do my homework, and then repeat and repeat. Okay. My dream was just, okay, let me see if I can graduate with flying colors. Okay. How can I just impress my parents, you know, and impress my teachers as well? Do whatever they ask me to do, and then probably graduate and then have my certificates. Okay. But then a lot of these dreams have now become even larger when I traveled outside Nigeria. I see, okay, the world is a very vast place to be, and you can dream much beyond just your classroom or your immediate environment or Kaduna State where I live. Okay, I can dream of, you know, going to the Shaolin Temple in China to see what they do there. I can go to the Imperial Palace in China, one of the most important places in China. People travel there, hundreds and thousands of people travel there every year because it's a very wonderful place to be. Okay, so when I had the opportunity to travel there, I saw that yes, dreams can really come true. And of course, when you dream and you put out the right amount of work, it can come true and you can be able to achieve your dreams. Okay, so can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay, so here is, I've already introduced my name as Shamsuddeen Hassan, the founder of Unique Mentors Academy. So when I returned to China, when I returned from China, I founded my own academy. I named it Unique Mentors Academy. It is all about teaching and helping other young people like myself to become better leaders and to be able to express themselves effectively. That is public speaking. Okay. So, and when you read below it, you can see that I'm the first place winner of the Group A preliminary stage of the 2024 Speak Forward Africa public speaking competition. Okay, so this is a competition that happened in 2024, which I took part, and I was the first place winner in that competition in Group A. So this is also to show you that when you put your mind in something and you put the right amount of work, you're going to excel in it. That dream will surely come true. This is an international competition, and I was so glad that I was able to become the first position in that competition. So this also pushed me. This gave me more inspiration to start to continue and to put even more effort in my academy. That's Unique Mentors Academy. Okay, I will talk more about the academy later during the course of this presentation. Next slide, please. Okay, so now my story. I would like to share a little bit of my story from the time I was in Nigeria to the time I traveled to China. Okay, so I was once like you, a young student with dreams. Okay, so I did my primary school in Kaduna State, Nigeria. Okay, I did my primary school, which took about 6 years to complete. And after my primary school, I went ahead and I did my junior secondary school for 3 years. That is 9 years together total. And then after my junior secondary school, I went ahead for my senior secondary school, which took 3 years. So totaling 6 plus 6, 12 years in total. Then after that, I went ahead for my higher institution learning, and I was admitted into a polytechnic in Kaduna State, Zaria, Kaduna State, Nigeria, where I spent 2 years. So after spending 2 years, which gave about 14 years altogether in total, then I came to start thinking, okay, I spent 40 years in Nigeria studying, and is this all I could really do with my life? And is there anything beyond this environment that might be of that might bring more excitement than this? Are there other people around the world, or is this all that is in this world, Kaduna State? Okay. And I could remember during my higher institution, Polytechnic, I remember our geography teacher. He showed us the globe, that is the Earth. And he showed the map of the world, and I saw how big the map of the world was. It was really big. And I saw Nigeria is just a fraction of that size, just a fraction, very small. And I saw China, I saw Ghana by the side because we are neighbors. And I went ahead and I saw Africa, not really big. And I saw Europe, I saw Asia, and I saw like it's really very big map and so many countries, so many continents in it. And I said, okay, what exactly is happening there? Can somebody really go there and see? So this is the first time that I started thinking about moving outside Nigeria to go to somewhere, beyond Africa and see what exactly is happening there, to see if I can be able to be a member of, other countries to probably contribute to whatever they are doing there, because I have no idea. Okay. So one day I went to my dad and I met my dad and my mom there. And I told them that my next phase of my schooling, I don't want to do it in Nigeria. I want to do it in somewhere outside Nigeria. And they look at me with surprise because in my family, nobody have traveled outside Nigeria before that time. And it was quite funny for them actually. And they smiled, they said, okay, so why do you want to go to study outside Nigeria? And which country are you planning to travel to? And I told them, any country that doesn't look like Nigeria. I want to experience something new. Okay. So they smiled at me and I said, okay, how do you plan to do that? I said, of course, you're going to sponsor me. And I know that my parents didn't have a lot of money for them to really sponsor me. And it was quite a drama in that moment. It was a drama actually. So I knew that for me to really convince them, I had to really, I had to really design my statement in a way that is convincing. I had to structure my sentences, my statements, the way I talk to them, and like so many things have to be involved. Okay. So that was the first time that I started learning about public speaking and communication skills. Because if you could remember, I told you my company that I established after returning from China was about public speaking and leadership, right? So that was the first time that I came to value the essence of communication skills and public speaking. So I went ahead and I watched a lot of videos. I read a lot of books, and I came back to my parents and I told them that I want us to continue our discussions where we left last time. They said, oh, that discussion about traveling outside Nigeria, I thought you are joking. I said, no, I wasn't joking. So I told them all the positive things that they need to consider. I told them all the advantages. And guess what happened? So what happened was they now gave in. Okay, they accepted to sponsor me to China. So that was the first time that I realized the power of public speaking and communication skills. Before that time, I couldn't even speak, I don't even know how to really express myself, okay? So that was the first time that a door of opportunity was opened for me, okay? So I started, looking for places to go, and I stumbled upon the very wonderful culture of the Chinese, of the Chinese. So I thought maybe China would be a very good fit for myself, for my studies, because apart from studying, I'll go to see a different culture, something entirely different from what I was used to in Nigeria, okay? So I closed my eyes, and when I opened it, I saw myself in China, okay? So my first day in China was really like a dream, and it was actually a dream come true. Different people, entirely different from the people that I used to see here in Africa. The place is entirely different, very tall buildings. How they dress is entirely different. The way they communicate is entirely different. And I thought, wow, this is actually a dream come true. Okay, so the next slide, please. Let's move.
Yeah, we have about 12 more minutes, Hassan.
Okay. Okay, next slide. Okay. Okay, next. Yeah. So this is exactly what I saw when I arrived in China. You see, this is how they dress. Okay, you can see that the right side of your screen. This is how they dress. It's quite different from how we dress here in Nigeria. And this is the local Chinese dish. This is what we call chow fan in Chinese language. Chow fan. This is jiro chow fan. Okay, it's just white. It's like white rice with some chicken sauce there. And then the black sticks you see is what we call chopsticks. They use it to eat. They're in China. I struggled to, it took me some while before I could be able to use it, but eventually I was able to know how to use it. So they use this to, eat whatever they eat, whether it is rice, whether it is chicken, whether it is bread, they use chopsticks to eat. Okay, so this is entirely different thing from what I was used to in Nigeria. So the world is quite large, and there's so many things that will excite you when you open your eyes to other perspectives, about, other angles of the world that you are not exposed to. Okay, next slide. So the first thing that I'd noticed is the tall buildings in China. Here, I took this picture from my balcony where I stayed in China. Okay, you can see how tall the buildings are. And these are very interesting to see because it's entirely different thing from it's entirely different from the kind of buildings that we are used to in Nigeria. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is my Chinese friend. His name is Xu Yang. So Xu Yang is a very interesting friend, and he's the first friend that I had in China, and he took me around China, when I was getting to know, places of interest there in China. And that opened my eyes to so many other things that I was not used to. Okay, next. Okay, so while in China, I stumbled upon so many different leadership positions in China. My first day I could remember, it was really, really challenging and also exciting at the same time. I happened to be the class monitor of my class. At your first year in China, 100 level, it is a combined classroom. where we have so many students from different parts of the world, from India, from Africa, from America, from, the Chinese there, and from Pakistan and other parts of the world. We were all combined in the same classroom. And one day the teacher came and she told us that we are going to have presentation and we are going to present our local cuisines. Okay, so every country will come and we will have one representative, one person that will represent the country, and he is going to stand in front of the classroom and, present the local dish of that country to the whole class so that everyone will have an idea about what the local food there look like. So surprisingly, I was asked to represent Nigeria, okay? And that was the first time that I had a presentation in my life. And it was really challenging moment for me because I hate, coming out and, facing the crowd and speaking because I have a lot of stage fright of that moment. And I was not just facing Nigerians or Africans, no, I was to face like the global citizens there from different parts of the world. And, I tried to, convince my teacher to say, okay, no, I wasn't the right person for this because I have a lot of stage fright and I can't do it. But my teacher, insisted that I represent Nigeria and show them what Nigerian food look like. Okay. So the day of the presentation came and I did all my research and I came with my presentation. All the slides were there and I thought I was ready. And when my name was called, I thought, okay, maybe there would be the names of the representatives will be like some alphabetical order so that Nigeria would not be, the first country to be called. But surprisingly, guess what happened? The teacher called me first. Okay, so I thought I was ready. When my name was called, I stood up and I went to the front stage and I faced the crowd. I faced my classmates. And when I was to start presenting, everything just disappeared from my mind. I couldn't even say a word, even my name. It was really, challenging at that moment. So somehow I calm myself down and I managed to say a few things and show the screen and I showed them the traditional food in Nigeria and I rushed back to my seat and they clapped. So that was a very exciting moment for me because it's really strengthened my public speaking ability. And since that moment, I started developing my public speaking skills. And that even puts me in a more determined spirit to learn more about public speaking and communication skills, and also to know how to really represent and express myself wherever I happen to find myself. So that spirit gave me the opportunity to become the class captain. So somehow my teacher now realized that I was a better person. Now I have more confidence and I express myself much better. So she decided to make me a class captain and then a Pakistani student to be my assistant. So that was my first leadership position of my life there in China. So that was my first year. Then my second year, I was also elected to be the PRO, the public relations officer of my school. Public relations officer, this is the person that relates with the students and the teachers. So whenever there's a message that was to be delivered to the students, I was the person to be called upon to share that message to the student or from students to the teachers. And then at my third year, I was also appointed to be the head of my academic department of my school. Okay. And then at fourth year, before my
5 more minutes, Hassan.
Okay. So at my fourth year before my graduation, I was also appointed to be the president of Nigerian students of my school. Okay, so this is how I've been, you know, stepping on leadership positions from the beginning of my schooling in China, from my first year until my fourth year. Okay, so it really have opened a lot of perspective to me, you know, from the angle of leadership to the angle of what's you know, the world look like outside Nigeria. Okay, let's move to the next slide, please. So let's hurry up so we can finish on time. Okay, so these are my friends in China. Okay, let's move. Next slide. Okay, so after graduation, I returned and I founded Unique Mentors Academy. I shared a little bit about the academy. What we do is we train people, especially young people, to develop their public speaking ability and leadership skills. I came and I found that, okay, if I can develop these skills to other people just like me, they will have the opportunity to open a lot of doors, maybe to travel outside Nigeria or to have some initiatives that can really better their lives and also better the life of other people globally. Okay, this is the reason that I founded this organization, to give other people the chance also to have the experience that I had in China. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, so this is the logo of my organization. Next slide. So this is young people just like you here, just like you in Ghana. Okay, we started, you know, catching them young, trying to develop their skills, both in public speaking and leadership. We thought, okay, if we can allow them to see that perspective from young age, they will have a better dream and also aspire to think globally instead of just locally. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, so this is the final slide. So the citizen of the world. So one thing that you need to understand is, now one of the things that I come to realize after traveling and coming back to Nigeria is cooperation. Okay, so you can do a lot of things when you put effort alone, but when you cooperate in a larger scale, when nations come together and try to execute programs or projects, then they are going to have much more impact that could change the lives of more people than what you could do if you can act alone. So now we can begin to see this in a larger scale, right? We can begin to now think about more cooperation. For example, if, for example, in your classroom, you want to achieve a certain goal alone and you are very good at it, what if you can come together with other fellow classmates and said, okay, I have this idea and I want you to come together and try to brainstorm together so that we can think together and form a way to implement this idea together. That way you are going to have it faster and you are going to have the impact much more than if you could do it alone, right? So then the second one is opportunity. If you have cooperative mindset, doing things together instead of just doing it alone, you're giving an opportunity to more people. So more people have opportunity to really think bigger and also implement, you know, bigger projects together. Then development. The world is now heading towards major developments than what we used to see in the past. There are so many giant projects happening in the world today. And so without this cooperation and without these opportunities that this kind of cooperation can bring to people, we cannot have a larger developmental project. Like, for example, this, okay, let's move to the next slide. You have a bit, okay, the next one. I think there are some pictures. Yeah, okay. Just like this project now, it's one of the biggest projects in Africa today. And it is because people have come together to execute these projects. So when people come together, instead of you doing things alone, we are going to have major developments, major projects that will span across multinational level. Okay, this is the Grand Ethiopian Dam, which can power a lot of houses, like thousands of houses in Africa. And it is made possible because people have come together to really develop something that can be of immense benefit to the future of the world together. Okay, so this is, I don't want to really take a lot of time, but I believe now you can see what I have seen. You can have the taste of what I've experienced in the past. And the last picture here you can see is Dangote Refinery. It is the biggest refinery in Africa. It is the biggest petrol refinery in Africa. And this is also possible because Dangote didn't, it's a man that is very visionary and is thinking about the future, and somebody who is always ready to allow more people to come together and to execute projects such as this one. So at the end of my presentation, I would like you to understand that if I can do it, you can also do it. So first of all, you need to think ahead. You need to think globally instead of just thinking within your immediate environment. There are a lot of things that you can achieve when you think globally, internationally. And secondly, you need to start thinking about, forming your own expanding opportunities. And that is possible if you come together, unity, and also expand that horizon and thinking about not just yourself, but other people that can allow you to have major achievement together that can touch the lives of more people around you or even globally together. So I think I've taken a lot of time. So if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer your questions. Thank you.
Hassan, very, very, very profound. Thank you for your profound presentation here. Yes, the hang on. About first thing about the time management. Officially, we stop these meetings in 1 minute from now, and I imagine that there are many questions. So if any of the schools or listeners have to sign off in a few minutes from now because of other obligations in life, that is okay for me, and I think also for Christian. We can extend the meeting a little bit further. If there are any, and I would start then with giving the microphone to the kids, and I already know that the staff of the school is also listening to your presentation. So anybody in of the schools of the staff, if you have a question for our dear speaker, please come forward and unmute yourself. So one more time, if the message came through, if at the side of the schools in Ghana or Africa, one of our schools that are listening, if you have a question or a comment to Hassan, his presentation, please come forward and unmute the microphone and state your question or comment. Thank you. David or Selma, anybody there? Can you hear me, by the way? Can you hear me in Africa? If you can hear me, raise your hand. I just want to know. Okay. Yeah, if third time, if you have a question, please come forward now and unmute yourself and ask the question. If not, I will have some question. Yeah, David?
Hi.
Yeah, please come forward to the microphone.
I'm called Raymond. What do you like to do in China?
Sorry?
What do you like about staying in China?
Okay, so the first thing that I like about staying in China is the culture, actually. So I have a very different taste of the culture there. Something that is entirely different from what I'm used to here in Nigeria. How they dress, how they talk, and even their greetings is a bit different, actually. So for example, if you can just meet somebody on the road and you can say, "Ni chofalama," like, have you eaten? Ni chifalama, have you eaten? Right? So this is a very normal greetings in China, and it just is very different from what we are used to. Here you can just maybe say hello, like here in Kaduna, my country, I can say Berkaderana. So it's not about, but there, when you ask about somebody has eaten or not, it's just a very wonderful thing to do. To ask somebody, it's just like show of care, you know. So many things about their culture that's very interesting, actually. So the culture first, and then secondly, how futuristic they are. When you look at, you know, the environment, there are tall buildings, you know, so many, you know, tall buildings around. That's particularly some of the things that I love about China. So thank you.
Any more questions from your side? Please go ahead. Come close to the microphone and ask the question.
Hi, my name is Daniela. I'm
Okay.
asking, in your opinion, can any Africa country be like China?
Okay, I believe African countries can be like China someday, right? And I don't know what perspective you mean. Maybe about infrastructural development, or about culture, or about, you know, learning, let's say education. I don't know. But if you're talking about infrastructure, I believe African countries are even on their way to being like China. It's just about determination. China was not like this few years ago. You know, I think it's about China was developed in, let's say, about 10 to 15 years. That is, it was termed as the miracle development, right? Miracle progress or miracle development. I don't know which one, but I could remember when a lot of news, you know, global news outlets were talking about the Chinese development. So Chinese was a third world country, you know, that, you know, had a very rapid development. So if China can do it, I believe any African country can do it. So it's just about, you know, having the dream and then putting the right mindset and then putting the right efforts to achieve that. So actually, African countries can be like China in the future.
Thank you. One more question, please. Is there one more question from the side of David Kumson? Please come forward and state your name and come forward near to the microphone, please.
My name is Rob Gordon.
Okay.
Please, how do you know how to stop being shy?
Sorry, can you speak louder?
Please, how did you know how to stop being shy?
How to stop being shy?
Yes, please.
Okay, if I get your question, you're talking about how did I manage to develop my public speaking skills, you know, public speaking, right?
Yes.
Okay, actually, it's all about practice. It's all about practice. So I went ahead and I studied. I told you I studied a lot of books and I watch a lot of videos with regard to public speaking. So it took me some time, but now, as being a coach myself, I know how to really teach individuals so that they won't take that much time like I did when I was learning, right? So there is a process. There are some steps that you need to follow in order to develop your confidence, so that whenever you're talking in public, you don't feel shy and you are talking without that stage fright that will stop you from passing out your message effectively in public. You know, so there are some methods and strategies that you can adapt to do that, right? So I can teach you if you want me to.
Okay, thank you. One more question from the side of David Kumson, and then we go to Compassion for Humanity if there are more questions. So one more question from David's side. Please state your name and come forward to the microphone.
Please, my name is Michael Aaron. Please, my name is Michael Aaron.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Please, if you're in China, do you speak English or Chinese?
Yeah, actually, they speak a little bit of English, But the first thing that I did when I went to China is that I learned how to speak basic Chinese so that I can communicate with the locals there. You know, when we go to shopping, when we are outside the school premises, a lot of the Chinese don't speak a lot of English. So I learned to speak Chinese so that when I go, if I want to ask for directions, I can speak in Chinese and they can be able to understand what I say. And when I go shopping, I can be able to pick an item and I ask them about the price in Chinese. And if I'm looking for something that I couldn't see it there, I can ask them where that item is located in the shops there, in the stores. You know, so I learned the Chinese language. That's the first thing I did. And that is very interesting because, you know, it opens my door to a lot of so many other things in China. When you learn to speak the local language of a certain country, it gives you an insight into their culture, how they communicate and how they live. And I was so happy that I learned the Chinese language. So thank you.
Thank you. Now we go to compassion for humanity. Are there any questions from your side? Compassion for humanity. Please come forward, state your name, unmute the microphone, state your name and ask the question, please. We don't hear you.
Yeah, it's not clear.
We cannot hear it. Compassion for humanity. We don't hear your voice, unfortunately. There's an alternative. If we don't hear you, put the question in the chat box. Just type the question in the chat box, and then Hassan will reply to that. Yeah,
Okay.
we cannot hear you. Compassion for humanity. There is an issue with the audio or something, and we cannot hear you. So please put the question in the chat box. And Hassan, we see you now 90 degrees turned for some reason. Oh, here you, yeah, you're back. So
Okay, it's the chat box.
yeah, we're opening up the chat box, and hopefully compassion for humanity can put in the question there. We don't see any question yet coming up in the chat box. So compassion for humanity one more time, otherwise we go to the next chapter of this meeting. You can ask a question here to Hassan. Apparently the audio does not work from your side to let us hear you. And then post a question in the chat box from humanity, compassion for humanity. Well, yeah. While you do that, we go back to David Kumson. Hang on, there may be somebody's typing a question right now. We give you a bit of time. Yeah, we're waiting for the question to be typed out by friends in Passion for Humanity. Take your Compassion for Humanity. Take your time to send the question, and then I go to one more question specifically for you, Hassan. Oh, there's the question. Which part of China do you stay?
Okay. I stayed in Shenyang. That is the northern part of China, in Liaoning province, Shenyang. So the name of my school is after the place, Shenyang Zhenji University, which means Shenyang School of Architecture in China.
Hassan, I have a question for you before we go to the conclusion of this meeting in some minutes. You have described how you, in your life, how you come from A to B, how you become from being a very young boy not knowing a lot about the world, to become this knowledgeable person as you are now. In that process from A to B on your camino, your journey from A, from where you are, for where you want to be, what are the three challenges that you have faced?
Okay, so I can say the first challenge that I have faced is that not a lot of people are thinking the way I was thinking before traveling to China. So a lot of people thought, okay, this guy is just crazy. Okay, everyone is just studying here in Nigeria, in Kaduna, not very far away places. He was not even thinking of studying maybe outside Kaduna, somewhere in Nigeria. No, he was thinking about going to China. Oh, so that is quite crazy. So when people are not thinking along the path of, along that path, so you become kind of depressed. You think, okay, maybe you are not doing the right thing. Maybe you are thinking wrongly. So that is the first challenges that I faced actually. So it took a lot of, resilience for me to persist, to keep on, having that dream. And then eventually it came to reality. So that is the first challenge that I faced. And then the second challenge I could say is when I went to, to face my parents, to share the story with them. When you want to do something that is beyond you, sometimes you cannot just do it within your own limits because you're limited for some reason. You don't have the money. You may not have a lot of ideas you may not even know where to start from. So you may have to consult some people that are ahead of you, maybe your parents, your mentors, maybe your teachers, to share that. So sometimes it's a little bit challenging to know how exactly to approach them, how exactly to relate that story to them. So maybe you may need a little bit of practice, like I did, because I had to go back and practice a little bit more, how to approach them, how to really talk in a convincing way, how to convince them, how to make sure that my points are relatable to them, how how to make sure that we are at the same page, to sell the idea to them. So that is my second challenge that I face. And then the last challenge is in China, moving to a new place, not knowing, what to make of it, because new culture, new language, everything was just new, so it took some time for me to really adapt to the situation and then, be a Chinese person, a semi-Chinese actually.
Thank you so much. We have one final question for here, and then I have the very, very final question. A short answer to the question from Compassion for Humanity. What are the relevant things you have achieved in China? Please keep it short.
Okay, so the relevant things that I've achieved in China are the leadership positions that I was opportune to hold. I was first being the class monitor, managing everybody, it's just like a global classroom because so many people from different countries, so you have to learn how to, communicate with people at their level. Sometimes you may even have to go and know about their culture before you could really communicate with them in a way that they will love to listen to you, or in a way that will be interesting, to them. So after holding that position, the class captain, being the head of academic department of my school is also another milestone. Then being the president of the students union of my school, the whole of my school, is also another milestone. So that really opened my eyes regarding leadership positions, and it developed my skills. And that skill is a skill that I'm still using here in Nigeria. And it's the same skill that I training other people to develop within themselves.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Hassan, for that answer. The final question from our side is, if you look at the children that you see here on the screen, what do you see in the eyes of those children?
I see people who are dreamers. I see students who are capable of having a dream. And I see dream coming true, because I always believe that if I can do it, I was once like them. So I see my tasks in them, and I can see their future already, because I believe if I can do it, they can also do it. They can achieve much more than I've already achieved, right? So what I would like to encourage them is they should keep dreaming, okay? And they shouldn't dream small. Even if so many people are not dreaming the way they do, they should just focus on what they believe in, right? They should see beyond their immediate environment, because whatever their dream is, it is very, very possible they can achieve it. So I see a very bright future ahead of them when I look at them, because I was once like them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We go to the conclusion, not before we ask the staff. I know the staff is also listening, Hassan, to your presentation of the schools. The staff and the children, everybody there to raise their hand and give a big applause to Hassan, our speaker of today.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you.
We have achieved more minutes than we normally do, and that's very worthwhile. So I'm going to thank the children, the staff in the schools in Africa. I see Joshua, I see David, I see Selma, I see Compassion for Humanity. I'm going to thank Christian for doing the things behind the scene. And of course, a big applause and thank you again, Hassan, for your great presentation. You are a very great model. Thank you all. You're ready to sign off. We have contact later on. And the next meeting is in 2 weeks. We set forth in 2 weeks on what we have learned today from Hassan. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Sejawar baca.
All right. I guess it's just, hold on. Let me put them. Oops.
Yeah, they're signing off now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
All
still.
right. It's just the three of us.
Yeah. The final 2 minutes before I have to do my chores here in America. So
For sure.
experience it, Hassan.